Hello, great people. The Minister of FCT, Wike, is currently under fire for allegedly allocating a staggering 2,082 hectares of land, equating over 40,000 plots to his son, Joaquin. The estimated worth of the land is $3.6 billion US. Yes, you heard me right. $3.6 billion US. On this episode of Politics with your sure plug, Dr. Omoshola, I will be unveiling to you the circumstance that led to the investigation, and I'll be reading to you the report of the investigation. It's a bit of a lengthy report. I thought of summarizing it to you, but then I had a change of mind that if I should summarize it, I'll be missing out some important key points in that particular report. So I thought that the best thing for you to have an adequate grasp of what Mr. Wike has allegedly done, then the best is for me to read it to you. What I can tell you is that this video is not the video that you fast forward because you'll be missing a lot. This is not a video that you will skip. And if you are a Nigerian and there's a true Nigerian blood in you and you believe that the resources of Nigeria belongs to every Nigerian, then this is one video that you need to watch. If you have been looking for an example of corruption in high places, this is the video that you need to watch. Now, before I read you the report, and you would be shocked when you hear the revelation in that report, let me give you some background to it. Wike, the Minister of FCT, assumed office in August 2023. When Wike assumed office in August 2023, in December 2024, Wike was challenged by people of they started accusing him of land grabbing. And when they accused Wike that you are grabbing lands for your friends and family, Wike challenged those people that if you are sure that I'm grabbing lands for my friends and family, they should provide evidence. Wike did not know that the people will take up the challenge and they will investigate him. So he thought that it's just the Nigerian gra. But the people took up the challenge. They started digging information about the Minister of FCT, Wike. Then they liaised with a bold media organization called People's Gazette to publish the report. Now, People's Gazette and those people, after reviewing the report of the investigation and some documents from some of the people that are working with Wike, they discovered that the minister allocated lands to friends and family, and that he brazenly allocated 2,082 hectares of land that is worth $3.6 billion to Joaquin, his son, in Maitama, Asokoro, and other eyebrow areas in Abuja. Wike has two sons, Joaquin and Jordan. According to the report, Joaquin is the utmost beneficiary of Wike's alleged corruption. Now, let us go to the report. Let me read it out to you, and I need you to please listen attentively to the details of this report as published by People's Gazette. It reads, the legislation controlling land administration did not appear to contain sections that specifically ban a minister in charge of the federal capital from granting a piece of land to a family member. The transactions Mr. Wike approved for his son were far-reaching and systemic enough to constitute illicit self-dealing, according to two officials in the minister's office. Underline that, in the minister's office, because the Gazette found that Mr. Wike did not pay ground rent. You remember the issue of the ground rent recently. They did not pay ground rent, title registration, and survey fee for the asset. His action also contravenes the Code of Conduct for Public Officers as enumerated in the Nigerian Constitution's 5th schedule. Joaquin Wike, the minister's last of two sons, has received at least 2,000 hectares or 40,000 plots in Maitama, Asokoro, Kusape, and other parts of Abuja. The Gazette found from documents and officials. Officials estimated that the hectares Mr. Wike has issued to his son, along with certificate of occupancy, are worth at least $3.6 billion, underline billion US. A plot in Maitama and Asokoro, where Mr. Wike gave his son at least 7 hectares total, was recently sold for $1.28 million and $1.4 million respectively. Mr. Wike's action was so brazen that when aides told him he needed to exercise caution, he dismissed their warnings, saying he wanted his children to be the largest landowners in the nation's capital. Now, I want to read a quote for you. There is a quote there, but I will be putting on the screen the picture of Joaquin and Davido at a recent event. You see him chilling with Davido. And if you are the type that knows designer wears, definitely you can put value to the worth of the jacket that Joaquin is putting on in that particular picture. Now, let me read a quote in the report for you. When we told the minister in April, that is according to one of the officials working with Wike, when we told the minister in April that he needed to slow down on frequent allocation to his own children, he said he was just starting, but because his goals was to make them the largest landowners in Abuja, end of quote. And it said, discussing the minister's conduct under anonymity, quote now, we've worked with ministers before him, but we have never seen anything even remotely compared to this, end of quote. Most of the allocations are in developing communities such as Quetta, Buari, and Gadua, where sources said Mr. Wike carefully selected them for their medium to long-term commercial prospect. While it was unclear when the scheme was devised, documents showed Mr. Wike started allocating the lands to Joaquin days after a company name after him was registered in October 2024. So you can see the plot of the minister of the FCT allegedly. They registered a company in name of his son, and within few days, the lands were allocated to that company, and the company was given C of O. Now let's continue the reading. The company, Joke Farms and Estates Limited, was registered on October 10, 2024. Barely a week later, on October 17, that is just 7 days after 2024, Mr. Wike allocated 350 hectares to the business via file number 155882 and certificate of occupancy number 0000162. The company listed its address as 13 Taba Seka Street, Wuse 2, with Taba misspelled on the documents as Taba. The address has long been associated with Mr. Wike and his numerous fronts in the Nigerian capital. On February 25, 2025, Mr. Wike approved at least 6 certificates of occupancies for lands allocated to Joaquin across the Federal Capital Territory, according to records reviewed by the Gazette. The documents were in 5 series, and they list about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different numbers here. Let's continue. While the Gazette could not obtain file number 159135, officials said its allocation also went to Joke Farms. As recently as May 30, Mr. Wike personally signed the allocation of about 2.3 hectares for his son in Gudawa district, where development has intensified in recent years. The minister also seized land in the central area that was previously granted to the Austrian mission in Nigeria, reallocating the lucrative assets to himself. The Gazette review showed Mr. Wike allocated roughly 2,082 hectares to Joke Farms between October 2024 and May 2025. So in less than 2 years, he has allocated 2,082 hectares to his son, allegedly. Now let's continue. Officials stated that Mr. Wike approved more than 3,500 hectares for his son, but they were unable to provide the document before this publication. That means that Wike allegedly approved over 3,500 hectares, but they were only able to produce file and evidence of 2,082 hectares as at when this publication was made. Let's continue the reading. Officials said Joaquin can easily earn more than $3.6 billion on the asset, emphasizing this was a conservative estimate. Now, there is a quote there. He has certificate of occupancy for all the lands. That's what makes it even more lucrative, an official said. The official spoke under anonymity to avoid being targeted by Mr. Wike, who is an infamous alcoholic with a documented history of violence. Again, I need to read that to you. To avoid being targeted by Mr. Wike, who is an infamous alcoholic with a documented history of violence. Officials stated that the minister had prioritized acquiring as many assets as possible despite failing to pay salaries of municipal employees. Maybe maybe that's why those people kind of like revolt against him and they begin to leak some of these documents. Now let's continue. Several departments under the Federal Capital Territory Administration (FCTA) have got several months without pay, including those attached to its broadcasting, environmental protection, and water bureaus. Little is known about the younger Wike. Before I go into that, you will recall that the primary school in FCT have also been on strike for about 3 months now. So it's not only the primary schools in FCT that are suffering, also some important organizations such as the broadcasting, the environmental protection, and water bureaus. Now let's continue. Little is known about the younger Wike, as he has kept a low profile since finishing high school in September 2020. So that means that the boy that is a beneficiary of this alleged corruption finished secondary school, as popularly called in Nigeria, in 2020, just 5 years ago. You can imagine that. Now, let's continue. However, in recent months, he has become a regular feature of his father's public appearances, often alongside his elder brother, Jordan. The Gazette learned that at least 5 plots out of the 2.3 acres Mr. Wike allocated to his son were seized from a middle-class family who declined to comment to avoid being further targeted by the minister, even on the new property they relocated to. Now, a spokesperson for Mr. Wike said he was unaware of the minister's use of public office to advance personal wealth. I am unaware, that's a quote, I am unaware of any development as such and can't give comment on what I don't have knowledge of, Larry Olayinka said, declining to elaborate or say whether or not he has discussed the matter with his principal. How much the president knew about Mr. Wike's reckless looting of land across the federal capital remained unclear. A state house source said Mr. Wike's behavior has raised severe concern for the administration, but there was no clear way of dealing with him yet. That means that even the Tinubu government, some principal officials there are concerned, but they don't have a way of dealing with him yet. No clear way has been said in this report. Now, let me give you a quote from one of the officials in Tinubu's government. It says, "Let me be honest with you and let me tell you that Nyesom Wike is a serious liability to the Tinubu administration," end of quote. And then to the president said, now this is another quote, "While we're focused on tackling the economy and insecurity, he's busy seizing lands from Abuja residents and reallocating them to himself." The official said the president might not have the courage to deal with Wike anytime soon, especially as he wouldn't want to create a fissure within his ranks amidst a looming general election. The president would eventually have to decide on what to do with the minister, the official said, but predicting whether that is going to be before or after the election is beyond my service charge. That is a quote according to the official. Under existing laws, Mr. Wike is the custodian of all lands across the Nigerian capital. At the same time, the minister appointed by the president acts as the administrator executing the president's priority for the territory. Anti-corruption campaigner Patience Okonkwo said Mr. Wike's action should trigger an immediate and expansive probe of land administration under his watch. Now, this is a quote. I want to quote something from the anti-corruption campaigner who have seen the documents that are yet to be shared online. The anti-corruption campaigner said, "If I can speak on the documents I am seeing here, then I would say this is unconscionable." Mrs. Okonkwo said after being shown the files by the Gazette. Now, another quote, this takes public graft to a new level and the consequences should be severe in a serious country. Now, that is the report of how Mr. Nyesom Wike, the Minister of FCT, allegedly allocated 2,082 hectares of land, equating over 40,000 plots. That is worth $3.6 billion to Joaquin, one of his sons. You see, if Nigeria were to be a country of law and order, the Senate is supposed to summon Nyesom Wike and investigate this report. But apparently, nothing will happen because Nyesom Wike is in bed with the president and the Senate president. Who I pity most is the Nigerian masses in all of this. I just hope that the Nigerians will begin to hold their leaders accountable. It's been an interesting time with you. Subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past video. See you in my next video. I love you all sincerely.